welcome back to the Black and Gold Standard Podcast. And today we will get into our matchup and our grades from the game on Sunday night. What a disappointment. I mean, there ain't nothing else I can really say. And it's kind of crazy because I actually picked the Steelers to win, but I had a feeling they wasn't gonna win. I guess the homer in me picked the Steelers, but I just had a feeling that they were gonna lose this game. But you know, it is what it is. I mean, as Steeler fans, at this point, we should really be kind of used to it. Kind of used to it. Hey, what's up, Yolanda? How you doing? I know you feeling pretty good and pretty confident that your guys is got a good chance of winning this division. But we'll see. I'll talk to you about it. Um just disappointing, man. Just so disappointing. But it's it got to a point now that we kind of used to it. Kind of used to it. Can't really be surprised. And like I say, unless you just the biggest Steeler honk, you really can't be surprised about it. But with that said, let's get right into these grades because this is depressing. Very depressing. All right, here we go. So, as you know, the Steelers lost the game 25, what was it, 25-10? Yeah, 25-10, and it really wasn't even that close. Um, Aaron Rodgers, I would almost say that he may have played his worst game of his career. He was just terrible. I don't know what was going on. Like I said, it could, and I hope this is not the situation, but all my boxing fans out there, you know how a boxer can go through a whole training camp and look good and get out there, for the fight, maybe the first 2-3 rounds look good, and then all of a sudden, just like that, it hits him and it's over. He lost it. And either that happened to Aaron Rodgers on Sunday or, just chalk it up as a one-off and just had a bad game. But he was absolutely terrible. He was absolutely terrible. And with that said, I graded him accordingly. And I gave Aaron Rodgers an F. He was 16-31 for 161 yards, 1 touchdown. That was a garbage time touchdown, 2 INTs, 51%. Just didn't even look himself. I don't know what was going on. I mean, I know the Chargers really did scheme him up pretty well, but I don't know. I don't know if this was a pouting moment of not getting a weapon during trade deadline. I don't know what it was, but I've never seen Aaron Rodgers that terrible. And like I said, I mean, I don't think it's the case, but it may be the case that he's lost it. That can definitely happen. I know one of the things, and don't let nobody fool you. Don't let anybody fool you out there. When you get these older quarterbacks, those guys, I mean, obviously nobody want to be hit. No quarterback definitely don't want to be hit. But when you get those older quarterbacks, those guys definitely don't want to be hit. And I bet you if somebody actually did the study on it, most quarterbacks up in age, look at their release time. Those guys are getting the ball out 2 seconds, 1.8. I mean, they're just getting that ball out their hands because they don't want to be hit. Big Ben was like that his last 2 years. Big Ben was getting that ball out his hand, and I think Aaron Rodgers may have gotten to that point. And he was actually kind of holding the ball, but I just think that they're he's kind of gun shy. I don't know. Like I say, I really can't even explain it because it wasn't a situation that he was getting the ball out of his hand. He was just terrible, throwing the ball high, throwing it low, throwing it to double coverage, overthrowing guys. I don't know what was going on. I do not know what was going on. I don't know if it was the long flight or, he lives in California. I don't know if he got out there and just said, hey, this is where I really need to be. I don't need to be playing football. I have no idea what it was, but Aaron Rodgers was terrible. And the only thing I can say is we'll see what he do, Sunday. Will it continue? Or will he go out there and be Aaron Rodgers and we just got to chalk it up as, hey, he had a bad game. And everybody has a bad game here and there. So I can't put my finger on it, to be honest. The running back situation, the running backs, again, is really worn that I'm grading here. The other guys really didn't do anything to even add a good grade or a bad grade. I gave Warren a B. To me, he was the only guy on offense that showed up. 14 carries, 70 yards, 5 yards a carry. To get only 14 carries, especially the way that game was going, was crazy to me. I mean, eventually at the end, yeah, you had to probably throw a little more than you wanted to, but still, I mean, that game was close. And to stop running the ball, I have no clue what was going on there. I watched the film, and I can't even really honestly say that Aaron Rodgers was audible in a lot out of running plays because when you really truly look at it, he had the numbers. He had the numbers that dictated that you pass the ball. I mean, so I don't know what was going on. Is that just an Arthur Smith thing? I can't. I don't know. It's just weird. It's a whole weird situation. I mean, and if he is auto changing the plays and doing audibles when they're calling running plays, and he's changing them to passing plays, I don't know. I don't know. Like I say, it was just a weird situation. I mean, Mike Tomlin, at the post game news conference was pissed, and I actually haven't seen him really that mad in a long time. So I don't know, and I ain't gonna pretend like I know or pretend like I know what was going on. All I know, it was just some weird mess happened in California. I don't know. I mean, maybe Aaron went out there and got in his bag and doing some funny stuff. I have no clue. The wide receivers, again, nothing from them. I'm gonna go on record and say, and I've said this, I've never really paid much attention to DK Metcalf, because he played in Seattle, so I wasn't watching Seattle Seahawks games, and you would just see highlights of them. And the highlights, of course, they're highlights. So you always thought, man, this dude big, he fast, but seeing him now as a Pittsburgh Steeler and watching them week in, week out, he doesn't have the greatest hands, and he's not the greatest route runner. So um, that's just kind of something that was kind of surprising to me. Granted, he really did dropping balls because Rogers wasn't throwing it to him to give him a shot to catch it. So I gave the receivers a D. Roman Wilson kind of was a leading receiver, 2 receptions, 35 yards, 17.5 average, 1 touchdown. Roman Wilson is the #1 garbage player, probably in NFL. He gets a lot of garbage yards. A lot of people get excited about it. I don't. He's not the answer. Um, Again, you get reports that the Steelers tried to make a trade, but to me, not to get something done is kind of crazy. I know some guys, the rumor was that they were in the mix for Jacoby Meyer, and they actually gave the same, they were offering the same deal that the Jaguars was offering, but he picked to go down to the Jaguars. When you look at that, who knows? Who knows? I mean, to me, I think part of it is I don't think another guy is really excited about playing in the Arthur Smith offense and really being the #2 receiver. I think that got a lot to do with it. I think he was in Nevada, didn't have no state tax. To go down to Florida, no state tax. At the end of the day, that's a lot of money. So who knows what that his reasons was. I think the other kid, they ended up going to Seattle. He played for the offensive coordinator there. So again, it ain't no receiver that's really excited about playing in Arthur Smith offense to me. I mean, let's keep it 100. Arthur Smith ain't been good since he had Derrick Henry. Let's just keep it 100. I mean, even when he was in Atlanta, I mean, he had Bijan down there, and his rookie year, he hardly even played the guy. So I don't know. Me personally, and I'm gonna let it out tomorrow. Me personally, I've always said I hope Walter Smith get a coaching job somewhere. But the way the season is going, that's probably not gonna happen. And if the Steelers really would step up and do what they should do and be about the standard and don't be about being just a team that's happy to win, 9-10 games a year and not do nothing else, Arthur Smith is a candidate to be fired. But that's just me. The tight ends, again, nothing special. They obviously they really didn't do anything. I think if Rodgers put that ball on the money, I think Smith probably has a touchdown or close to it. But these guys, like I said, I don't like the offense because I feel like you're playing these tight ends, but they're not weapons. Like we don't have a Ty Warren, we don't have a Kelsey. We don't have even and to me he ain't really never hit his stride. But like a Pitts in Atlanta, I mean those are weapons. Those are guys that make mismatch. I mean Washington. I mean he's huge. He's huge, but you know what? A safety can actually guard him. Actually, a athletic linebacker can guard him. Probably really need to put a linebacker on him because he's so darn big. But Steelers don't have really no weapons at the tight end position, and you're putting three of them out there. So I just don't like it. And like I say, it's not an offense that's going to win you anything. But I give those guys a C. Like I say, they wasn't terrible. They wasn't really asked to do much. Firemouth led the way, 3 catches, 33 yards. Let's get to this offensive line. This offensive line, yes, they have been playing better lately, but it's smoke and mirrors. Broderick Jones is 100% terrible, and he's starting to get that 4-letter word behind his name real fast. These guys, again, me personally, I think it's time for a change in the offensive line coach. Just the fact of, I have to give him credit. These guys have gotten better, but I think at the point now where they're at, I don't see him being able to take those guys to the next level. I don't see him, pushing these guys to get to the next level, and it's not working. It's not working. It seemed like they were able to run the ball. Warren was actually running the ball well. But for the most part, pass blocking, you've seen it, and Broderick Jones is absolutely terrible. If you just watch the film and just watch him, it's bad. So the offensive line, I gave those guys a D. Only mustered up 221 total yards. Again, didn't run the ball bad, just didn't run it enough. But that's honestly that's not against them. That's more of a coaching deal there. So the overall offense, I gave those guys a D. And to be honest, the quarterback drugged this grade down to where it was at. I just don't get it. I just like I said, this was a weird game. I ain't gonna sit here and try to act like I got the answers to what was going on, because I have no idea what was going on. I don't know if them dudes was hanging with Snoop and doing their thing. I have no idea. All I know is that was weird, and the Steelers was offensively was just in a fall. So with that said, let's move over to the defense. The edge rushers, not bad. Now actually, I really thought these guys, and they end up doing it. They end up doing their thing, because I really thought that they were going to have a big game, because the Chargers offensive line is a mess. No tackles. And for the most part, those guys, they held up. I mean, they all got sacks. As you can see, Highsmith led the way, 2 tackles, 2 sacks. I know Watt got a sack, Herbert got a sack. So I gave those guys a B. They did their thing. Again, nothing that they really didn't do. So they, what I expected out of them, they got it done. On the defensive tackles, okay, you can't say was kind of struggling on the run a little bit. The Chargers kind of ran the ball on them a little bit, but the thing is, the defense, I really can't even blame the defense, because they was out there so long. I mean, the offense couldn't get any drives going. So, I mean, when you got an older defense, them guys gonna get tired. They're gonna get wore out. So I gave those guys a C. I mean, I thought they were okay. Bennett led the way, seven tackles, a sack. Like I say, they were just out there a lot. They were out there a lot. The offense really didn't give them any help. So to be honest, the defense as a whole, you really can't put a lot of blame on them, because I thought for the most part they did what they supposed to do. And like I said, that game was close until the end when the defense definitely just ran out of gas. The linebackers really the same thing. Again, didn't do anything bad or spectacular, but they were just solid. They were solid. I think they played good enough to win this game if the offense gives them any type of support. And then at the end, they just melted down and ran out of gas. Patrick Queen led the way with 12 tackles. Um, so what can you say? Usually it's the offense. I mean, usually it's been the defense that's been the problem, and you know, kind of blowing these games. But it was all on the offense. It was all on the offense. So, like I say, with the defense, I can't blame any of these guys. And I thought they played a solid game, and really they played good enough to win this game until the end. The corners again, same thing. I mean, the Chargers hit some plays on them, but our guys were really right there. Just hey, the other team, they get a paycheck too, and those guys are allowed to make plays, and they made them. And the Steelers corners didn't make them. Joey Porter is officially Ike Taylor 2.0. I think that's what I'm going to start calling him, 2.0. So when you hear me say 2.0, I'm talking about Jerry Porter, because he has no hands. He's terrible. And he has to realize all these interceptions that he's dropping, that's money, man. That's money, because when you go in there and go in for negotiation, you can't say, oh, well, I had, these many passes that I deflected or whatever. They want, you're going to get paid off INTs. INTs get you Pro Bowl games and all that type stuff. And dude, you killing yourself. You're killing yourself because you have no hands whatsoever. You need to buy you a jug machine and just go in your backyard and catch 100 balls, 200 balls a night before you go to bed or something, because your hands are terrible. So again, solid. The Chargers really didn't kill them in the passing game. James Pierre had 5 tackles. But when you get down to him, you kind of putting yourself in a bad situation. But Slay, he went out with a concussion, and if you notice, every game he's getting hurt. So hopefully he might not even play, and that might be a good thing. I think the Steelers is going to talk to Asante Samuels Jr. I think he comes in tomorrow. It's a good chance they probably sign him because the Steelers doctors actually did the surgery on him. So the Steelers, definitely and had his medicals, and I guess if all that stuff checks out, he may sign with them. So we'll see. We'll see. Like I say, any help is good help right now. What's up, Claude? Claude Bishop, the man. How you doing, Claude? So I gave the corners a C. Like I say, they were solid. Nothing great, nothing too bad. The safeties, Jalen Ramsey played full-time safety, which to me, this is going to be very interesting what the game plan is going to be, because Ramsey has to play corner Sunday. I'm not putting Echols out there on T. Higgins. So I'm assuming that Ramsey's probably going to have to move the corner on Sunday. But with that said, the same thing with the safeties. Ramsey led the way with 8 tackles. I give those guys a C. Nothing. They ain't do nothing terrible. Didn't do anything special. They didn't get beat over top. So they, the safeties did their job as far as that goes. So with that said, the defense as a whole, I gave those guys a C. And if I'm a defensive player, I'm really pissed, with the offense. But then again, the defensive guys really can't say nothing because, it's been a couple of games that the defense and let this team. This team is so inconsistent. And that's the thing. When you get inconsistent play like that, at the end of the day, yeah, everybody say it's the players, which it is, because those are the guys on the field. But to me, that's coaching. That's coaching. You're getting out coached. And I thought San Diego's defensive coordinator stymied the Steelers offense right off the back. So that's what I'm giving the defense. I'm giving them a C. Special teams, the boss. Like I said, I don't really never had no complaints about the boss. He missed a 49 yarders, 45 yard, whatever. So you really can't do that. But I'm not gonna sit there and jump all over him because without him, maybe this little silly having had a losing season that probably wouldn't even exist if Boswell wasn't on this team. The Steelers did end up muffing a punt, which wasn't good. The return team was, wasn't bad. So with that said, I just gave the special teams a C. Usually these guys be rocking an A every week, but they went down to a C because you can't turn the ball over. At the end of the day, Boz did miss a kick, a makeable kick. So those guys got a C from me. Coaching. All right, here we go. And I probably could really make this whole show about this. Offensive coordinator, Arthur Smith. Terrible game. And again, I don't know what was going on with this offense. I don't know what was going on with Aaron Rodgers. And the Aaron Rodgers situation, I don't put that on the offensive coordinator. That was Aaron Rodgers as far as missing throws and overthrows and this. My only thing the problem I have with the offensive coordinator is why you're not running the ball. And like I say, we don't have the answer to this. What's going on? Is Aaron Rodgers changing all your plays? I mean, what is going on? So my thing is, and again, it's hard because you're dealing with a guy that especially now, definitely ain't gonna be back next year. So, he's probably like, hey man, I want to do my thing, and probably don't like the plays that Smith. I mean, obviously, if he's changing the plays, he don't like what's being called. So I gave Smith a D. And like I say, my biggest thing was what's going on with you and this run game. I don't get it. Defensive coordinator, the much maligned Terrell Austin. I gave him a C, and it's sad because this could have been a grade that could have been a little better, but his guys ran out of gas. They ran out of gas, which is not on him. The offense just didn't give him no help. They stopped for the most part, stopped the run game. But then at the end of the game, guys got tired, kind of got gassed a little bit. So I I thought he called a decent game. I mean, I got to give him credit for that. You know, I just I just think those guys got tired and you know, just went downhill from there. The head coach. So at the end of the day, yes, is Mike Tomlin out there throwing balls 10 feet over guys' heads and missing tackles and all that type of stuff? No, he's not. But when you are cashing the big check, at the end of the day, it falls on you. If it falls on you. I don't know what was going on with this offense. But you lost. You lost a winnable game. I feel as though it was a winnable game. I feel like your staff somewhat got outcoached by San Diego. I mean, well, I'm calling them San Diego. I'm sorry. LA Chargers. You are one game away from being tied by the Baltimore Ravens when they were 1-5 at one point. And to me, Pittsburgh Steelers end up losing, not winning this division, because there's only going to be one team out of the North that's going to make the playoffs. So if they don't win this division, they're not going to make the playoffs. And I feel like the lead that you had, the inconsistent play that this team is displaying, winning games that you probably shouldn't win, losing games that you should win, just not consistent in any kind of way. One week, the offense is doing good, then the defense is bad. Then the defense is doing good, then the offense is bad. It's just not consistent. And again, I'm not one of these guys that just want to say fire Mike Tomlin, but I truly believe that it may be time. It may be time, and it's not a situation where he would be fired because he's a bad coach or he's just not doing a good job, which he's really not doing he's not doing a great job, I would say. But the Steelers have to, and this is where it really comes down on the owner. I mean, what are you about? You know, we preach the standard and all this stuff, but the standard has been so watered down the last few years that's ridiculous. Like, okay, it's cool that Mike Tomlin never had a losing season, and you know that was cute. That was a nice little thing, but these are the Pittsburgh Steelers. This is not the give me a team. This is not the Houston Texans, you know, where if you got a coach that's doing what Mike Tomlin's doing, hey, that's a good thing. I mean, because they ain't looking. I mean, so like the Texans, the Jaguars, you know, yeah. At the beginning of the year, everybody think they can win the Super Bowl, want to win the Super Bowl, or they speak that. But realistically, those teams would die for that, to have a coach like that. But this is the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Steelers standard is winning Super Bowls. And yeah, I understand you can't win the Super Bowl every year and all that. I get that. Only one team a year is going to win the Super Bowl. But that's where the Steelers standard should be. You can't even win a playoff game. So sometimes, I mean, you look at Andy Reid. Andy Reid did it. he was basically doing the same thing in Philly, but at least with Reed was getting to the championship games and got to a couple. I think he got to a couple Super Bowls, but you know, at some point you got to pull that Band-Aid off. And he ended up working out. It ended up working out for both of them. Reed went to Kansas City, got with a big time quarterback, and you see where it took him. Philadelphia and won a couple of Super Bowls since Reed left. So it worked out for both. And I just think at this point it may be time for Mike Tomlin, but we'll talk about that more at the end of the season. We just see how the season ends because who knows? Steelers will win the next 2 games and everybody will be like we back and all that. But I'm not falling for that tailpipe, banana in the tailpipe deal. So I gave Mike Tomlin a D. I gave him a D. Overall coaching, I gave him a D. And the Steelers really got to get it together because if not, it's gonna be some issues. And like I say, with my Steeler fans, come on, let's just be smart. Let's be smart. I know we're all fans and fans are like, fanatics, but just be real with yourself. Watch the game, enjoy it, but just be real with yourself at the end. And if you look at this team, you can all you guys out and women out there can tell that it's about that time for some major changes with this team. But with that said, that is it for today. That's my grade. So make sure you like and subscribe and take care. And I will see you guys tomorrow. We have our show with Tate and Big G on the Know It Alls channel. Smash the Gas, which it should be very interesting. I think Big G is definitely on crash out alert. So we'll see how that go. So until then, take care, and I will talk to you guys later. All right, bye-bye.